What's up, family? This is Brother Sharif. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Family Meeting. Today, we're conversing with Mr. Darral Addison, an inventor and scientist who's created the Torpedopot, a self-watering planter that's going to help all of us develop a green thumb. Stay tuned, take notes, and let me know if you have any questions.
Good evening, Mr. Addison. How are you, sir?
Mr. Johnson, how are you doing?
It's a pleasure. I want to welcome you to my show. We call it the Family Meeting, and I'm Brother Sharif for this purpose. And I saw you, and I saw an article about your product, and I thought, hey, with us finally realizing how much food scarcity is an issue in our community, especially during this time period,
Right,
and with us renewing the conversation on food deserts,
right.
there's a renewed interest in agriculture and even urban agriculture, and this product could help us with that. So I wanted to chat with you today. If you could begin by letting my audience know a little bit more about you and your background, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, absolutely. My name is Darral Addison. I have 5 degrees. I've written 10 books, own 2 corporations, and I'm a consultant. I do global consulting. And one of the companies, I own 5 companies, and one of the companies I own is Torpedopot. And Torpedopot is a creation of mine from scratch, innovation. And we believe it will revolutionize the family dinner table. We're growing food from the natural components of the soil instead of altering the environment and altering the experience, the plant experience. So one of the things we have is we grow fungus. We don't care about the plants, we grow fungus. And the fungus grows the plants. Fertilizers don't grow plants, fungus does. So we use that in all of our businesses. And one is Torpedopot, Hospot, which is the first plant hospital. Canopot was the first cannabis growing planter in the world. A lot of people were taking cannabis seeds and bringing them from across seas. And they're taking those cannabis seeds and putting in the ground, and they throw all types of fertilizers. If you throw all those fertilizers, the cannabis will never get its true flavors and colors. You'll never be able to tell the distinction from one to another.
Yes,
At some point, genetically, everything will taste alike.
so I have a question for you. You said you have 5 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like an underachiever. I don't have but 3. What are your degrees in? I'm
You're
curious.
funny. You're underachieving. You have 3. Well, some people 3 is more than enough. What are you talking about?
When I
I
think
have
of all the money I'm spent and going to be spending, it was a little bit more of an investment than I probably should have made. But what are your degrees in?
I have a master's in theology. I have a master's in regulatory affairs and quality control. I'm a graduate from the School of Pharmacy. I have undergrad in chemistry.
Oh, wow.
And I have 2 other smaller degrees. Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot. Now, can we talk about what inspired you to create the Torpedo Pot?
Because I am a man and men are frail, I figured at some point we need to be able to produce for ourselves. So I want to be able to have something for my family in case of an emergency. But more importantly, I started gardening, and I gardening because I love gardening, and it lets me to take my focus on something else. And but however, start working hard at it, and I realized I need to find a better way to grow food. And then I found out, okay, great, I found a better way to grow it. Now I have to optimize it. Okay, great, I've optimized it. Okay, now it has to be applicable. Great, I made it applicable. Now I have to make it grow in every country of the world. I made it grow in every country of the world. And now we have to be able to brand it for every country in the world and to be able to give people in every country the supplies they need to grow for themselves and their family.
Okay. Now, the Torpedo Pot, it looks kind of like a regular planter. However, it has some extra stuff going on with it. I'm not very scientific. I'm a liberal arts guy. Um, but it looks like you connect the water supply and it maintains the level of moisture needed in order to create the best environment for plant growth.
That's
Uh, in my rough description, is that accurate?
Yeah, you're looking at it from the design side, but once you start to look at it from the agronomy and the biotic side, you see something totally different.
Okay.
You have to have a container. Understanding how plants grow is extremely important towards developing a container for the plant. Like for instance, we have to ask ourselves when you have a pile of dirt, and all of a sudden you see something coming out of that dirt that looks green. And it says the cabbage plant, looks edible. And you pick that cabbage plant out. You have to understand the matter from this was converted to this. The living organism in the soil did something to cause that plant to grow. The question is, what exactly happened? And we have to understand what type of environment caused that plant to grow. So what the torpedo pot does, it not only isolates the plant, but it reduces any type of attack. Everything around us, everything material decomposes. And if it decomposes, it also develops opposing fungus and bacteria. And so the parts and everything we use in a planter, how it's designed to feed all of the plants in the planter, how it distributes the water, and the locations for the right sunlight and everything else. All of these go into the pressure and electrical systems. We have planters that have built-in hydro generators built into the planters.
Are they all the same size?
No, they're various sizes. We have different. Okay. We have planters that go up 100 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, this is all part of the torpedo pot patents.
Okay. And now, I don't know if you see Marcus Garvey over my shoulder there.
I sure do. I thought it was your father for a moment there.
No, he's the father of a lifestyle and a theory that I try to promote: Black nationalism and independence in our communities. Again, that's a reason that I was drawn to this product, because I see the opportunity for us to grow our own food and decrease our dependency on grocery stores. Now, what are the limits of the torpedo pot, if any? Like, can it be used to grow house plants as well as vegetables, or is it created primarily to grow vegetables? Is there a type of vegetable which the torpedo pot cannot handle, such as corn or something of that nature?
Are you trying to steal my patent?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I'm playing with you. I'm just playing with you. No, I get it. And you do look like him. That's why I say you like his father.
We're just two chubby black men.
Well, actually, you look like him a little bit more. But
I had a ninth grade English teacher who started calling me Marcus Garvey accidentally, and I think she spoke something into my life.
Wow, that's amazing. That really is amazing. That really is amazing. So yeah, the limits are boundless, because when I want you to look at the torpedo pot, I don't want you to look at the torpedo pot as something to grow plants.
Yeah.
It's a tool. People look at it for growing food. Others look at it for growing flowers. It'll bring your plants back to life on its own. It requires no human intervention. So if you look at the torpedo pot as a design, instead of looking at it from the microbial interaction inside of it, you'll think that it's just something, but you don't want to understand the genius that went into this planter to ensure that it can grow in many different locations. So even when we choose the materials, we're very, very careful about what we're doing, because people don't understand a lot of materials that you're buying, they leach into the soil and they may be contaminating you, especially if they've been produced by chemicals in a factory facility. So you want to minimize all of that. And so all that has to do with plant health. I wouldn't want to grow in a toxic environment either. So yeah, the limits are boundless for the torpedo pot, because it heals and brings plants back to life. And nothing else in the world has ever did anything like that before.
So it's more than just growing. It's about growing healthy and more organic as well.
And like you said, for the African American, and for those who are not African American, particularly in this show for African Americans, we'll be, I tell my clients all the time, when people go and a farmer doesn't have a degree in agronomy. A farmer does not have a degree in biology. But a farmer's real smart because he knows that if he throws the seeds into a ground at a particular time and he adds fertilizers, it will grow. And that's really all he needs to know. And because he knows that, now he becomes part of a big business chain where all they do is that. Buy their fertilizers, buy their seeds, and then you buy into it. So with Torpedopot, when we work with our partners, we can actually drop a tank, a pump, a whole facility. So that, and we can scale your facility depending upon what you want to grow, and we can exactly tell you what your output would be. We don't recommend growing indoors. That's a bunch of hogwash. We have golden brown, beautiful peppers with no blemishes on them that are growing outside. And we're looking to close to have 1,000 of them grown at under 2 square feet. So we don't have a problem with that. So yeah, we could drop ship this, and those individuals can just start growing. Once they use our design, they follow our rules to the game. We don't use any fertilizers. Then we can certify their products, and we can actually resell their products.
So with the Torpedopot, do I have to worry about referencing the Farmer's Almanac and the seasons and everything? Or
well,
can I plant outside of the planting time?
Yes, thank you, Marcus. I think that Torpedopot is really a miracle because I want you to understand 2 things, and we're going to go into the question you just asked. First thing I want you to realize that the tools that you're using for gardening is the same tools that were used by the Egyptians. But yet we don't ride horses. And yet we don't have the storage systems they had, the capacity to store food back then. It deteriorates, no free refrigeration, all that stuff. So we have to understand that our agricultural technology, we're building on an outdated technology. We're trying to make an outdated technology better. And you can't do that. So when we, Torpedopot, with the technology we have, I forgot your question. Ask it one more time.
Well, basically, does a Torpedopot allow us to grow outside of, or the plant outside of the almanac recommended planting periods?
Yeah. What it does is this. I don't know what the almanac planting periods, and I don't know what soil they use. They probably use the consistently soil for a reason, for that region, and for those time frames and the weather conditions and all the other things. And of course, all this is tied into the solar system and everything else around us. So all this is based upon that. But with that being said, the Torpedopot, listen, it's a complex situation because the soil, there's 2 things happening to us. Our agricultural has been taught to us. Agricultural science has been taught to us. But it's based upon growing and harvesting, growing and harvesting, growing and harvesting. And plants don't behave like that. We've taken a plant out of its natural environment and said, in 3 months, I need to do a new harvest all the time. So really, we're not really learning how plants grow. We're trying to take something that's on a farm and put it in our house and think that's the way it's supposed to be done. So what the Torpedopot is, it changes that. It allows you to change the environment so that you can build whatever you need to in that environment to grow your plants. So what it does is that plants will grow in their season. My tomato plants will grow throughout the whole year because 99% of plants never go through their full life cycle.
Okay.
The conditions that we have them in, they cannot go to their life cycle. And so to get back to your question and answer your question, plants are fuller, they're more original, and we're seeing behaviors that we have not seen before. And so when you have a plant that's in its natural environment, it behaves totally different. The cabbage is going to be different. The taste is going to be different. The color is going to be different. Without any fertilizer, it's all natural now. The sizes are going to be different. But you can grow, with the Torpedopot, you can grow a lot of food in one pot or a little bit of food, depending on how many seeds you want to put in and what you want to do. But yeah, we can't say they grow outside the seasonal periods, but we do know they grow fuller, more beautiful. The taste is different. The color is different. The textures are different. And we realize that their growth cycle extends further out. But most people historically have not let growth cycles go out. They stop the growing period once they get their tomatoes and they kill it off because the ground is no longer sustainable to carry for the full length of the year. But the torpedo pot does.
Okay, great. So it sounds like we don't have to change the dirt as much inside of the torpedo pot as well, because it sounds like it's keeping the dirt or the soil healthier.
You're a really smart man. Thank you for it. You're a really smart dude, man. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. As a matter of fact, with the torpedo pot, because I'm telling you, as microbial growth, you never ever have to change the soil. All you do is add to it.
All right.
You turn it over and add more soil. Remember now, it's converting itself over. You're not trying to water the whole thing to create decay. You're just watering where we need to water the plant at, in the middle of that planter. That's the heart of the planter. When you do that, you'll be just fine.
All right. So this product sounds like it's a no-brainer for a scientist. But for your lay person, let's say someone that lives in an apartment, and probably the only property they have outside of their apartment is their patio. Is this something that someone could use to do some urban food gardening?
That's specifically, thank you, Mr. Johnson. That's exactly why it was designed. It was designed to meet the needs of the urban food gardener and urban people who want to go into high-tech agriculture. This would take you in there also. So Torpedo Pot crosses all of those regions. Some of our systems, all of our systems are modularized. So if you want to expand your garden, you just add another pot. Just add another pot. Add another pot. And as far as people using from the home, you can run as many as 80 pots off of one spigot in your house if you rotate the watering cycles. So you can actually produce more food than your local farm of a specific type.
All right. Dorm room question. I'm a higher education professional.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I'm in a dorm room and I have a ledge outside of my window or a windowsill, and I want to use this, and I have a kitchenette in my dorm room. Now, can I plug up the water supply and unplug it to do something and plug it back in, and the torpedo pot still work well, or does it have to be consistently tied into a water supply?
That's a very good question. What it is that what we do is that we that's because we use the pot in both ways. For restaurants, we'll unplug the pot, we'll send it, they'll use it up, and they'll send it back.
Okay.
Well, for the consumer, yeah, if you unplug the pot and bring it out, remember now, once you're right, it is a very good point. Once you change these watering cycles, then it will affect the plant. But the problem is that because your plant is so used to watering cycles, inside the agility and the robustness of that plant, it's already predetermined. So when you look at a plant that you have growing in a regular pot or something of that nature, the minute the water is gone, the plant collapses. But when you have a plant that has built up its actual water flow, it has a lot of the life taking place, the trans-evaporation taking place, the water's moving through it and going right through it. Once it stops, and the plants have enough energy to build up this nitrogen, the walls of the plant itself, and the roots of the plant itself, once all that is built up, then the plant will more readily survive.
Okay.
So because you're giving it what it needs to live, and all of that is the biotic environment. So you're not just giving it fertilizers, then you cut it off like an addiction. You're not doing that. What you're doing is giving it sustenance to live on. And it itself, it builds its own environment. You don't have to build environments for your plant. They know how to do it. They've been doing it long before we came on Earth.
Okay. Now, for my audience that may not know, you have referenced bionic several times. When we're talking about bionic, are we talking about like RoboCop or?
No, I meant biotic.
Biotic. I'm sorry.
Biotic,
I thought you said bionic. So biotic. All right.
Yeah, biotic. Okay.
Thank you. Now,
No.
So of course, did you have a particular target audience in mind when you were creating this?
Yeah, I guess I had in mind the people I guess were more like myself, and that is gardeners and people who wanted to be able to feed their families, who wanted to be able to, in case times that they didn't have to or want to go to the supermarket, they can have their food there. I mean, before I created the Torpedo Pot, I weighed close to 300 pounds. I think right now I'm clocking close to probably about 100 and 150 right now.
Oh, wow.
Matter of fact, I rarely eat now. I go outside and get my fruits and vegetables, and it gives me so much energy. I mean, I'm cool, man. I'm really liking what I'm doing, and it's happening. The reason why people can't be healthy, it's not because they don't want to. The fertilizers in the food causes obesity, is linked to obesity, and not only that, but the food that they're selling in the supermarkets, even though it's healthy and it's fresh, you know, they say it is, it has all of these fertilizers in it. So once you get flush all this stuff out of your system, dude, you're good to go. I mean, I don't have a problem. You know, I've been off my medicine. I take a little steroids because I have sarcoidosis. I'm not saying anybody should do anything of what I'm talking about. Even though I work in the healthcare industry, do not take my advice. This is not advice on any of that. But I'm saying that if you allow this nutritional material, it acts like a pharmaceutical property that cleanses your body out and restores your health. And not only that, it reduces your appetite for the wrong foods because now you're eating the right foods. And once you start eating the right foods, because it's so abundant now, you won't eat the bad foods. You won't eat the junk food anymore. Now, how will that impact you? You're going to see your whole life, your energy and your strength is there, but your life will change. And it's more psychological too.
All right. So far, this is what I'm hearing as the advantages. It maintains healthier soil. It keeps from killing the soil and making it like a single season use soil. In addition to that, it extends the life cycle of the plant.
Mm.
It also
Enhances. I would say enhances the life cycle.
enhances,
Mm-hmm.
but possibly extends our growing season.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct.
It gives us access to healthier produce.
Yes, that is correct.
And it allows us to grow at home and provide food for ourselves without having to go to the grocery store.
Yeah, yeah.
It
And
sounds
also, Mr. Johnson, remember, it uses 95% less water, and it's fully automated. It requires no human activity intervention at all. It runs by itself.
So now, did I leave anything out of that? Is there anything else that we should think
No, I
about
think you
when we
touched
think
on
about it?
everything. I think you did a good job.
So how would the ordinary person get their hands on a torpedo pot?
Just go to www.torpedopot.com, and you can purchase anything. I've got over 500 videos there for you to see how each plant performs and to determine to help you determine what you want to grow. So go to torpedopot.com, and if you need any extra information, click on the link and you can send me an email and I'll respond accordingly.
And how many years of work did you put into this product? You didn't just do this over the process of a year or a couple of months.
No, we did research I would say research, this is our third year. So, with all my background, I was able to build this thing very quickly and move it through its different phases of growth cycle and patents and everything else. So because of all that, I was able to move it rapidly. So we're into our third year. I expected to have this project complete in 2 years, but it's on this third year now. And so I have to find out how to do what I need to do to move on.
Okay. Would you want to share your next steps? I mean, you already have the product there. The product is available for sale. I'm sure a next step would be to get it into stores.
Our goal and our mission, we haven't gone to the big box stores yet. We don't want to, because we don't have to. And not only that, but we want to test market in our communities. We want to be able to, we're working with food banks right now. I just got off the phone with Miss Nina Womack from the Womack family, who produced the music. And she's doing great things for feeding people in her state. And I got off the phone with Claude Anderson and Boyce Watkins, not Claude Anderson, but him and Boyce Watkins have featured our products on that right there. But I guess at the end of the day, we're also developing an activist co-op in Minneapolis, where we're opening up a facility where people can now start selling torpedo pots. And so, at the end of the day, we're only as good as those people, around us to support us to achieve our goals. But we expect it to be pretty saturated in the community.
All right. Well, we have 5 minutes left. Is there anything else you want to tell us or let us know?
Well, I guess what I would say is that you called me, Mr. Johnson, and I think you were absolutely correct. This is an opportunity. And Blacks are known for taking advantage of good opportunities. We're good businessmen, but we haven't been given the right tools to multiply and to grow our money. And I think Torpedopot gives us an opportunity to do that. Remember now, when you find a marketplace, I suggest that you move and seize that marketplace as soon as possible. That's what opportunity is all about.
What's up, family? I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of the Family Meeting. In this episode of the Family Meeting, we talk with Darral Addison, the founder and CEO of Torpedopot, a tool that we could use to further self-actualize and break our dependence on the system. Make sure you check out the website, which you'll find in the credits after this episode. And don't forget to like, follow, and share. Thank you.